Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash of Clans, and I have the man Jake from OneHive back on the channel again. You probably saw him or heard him on an episode. Jake, what was it, like a month ago you came on?
Yeah, it's been, well, maybe a little over, but yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't too long ago.
a month or two ago, yeah, and we asked you about your return to Clash and the state of the game and what you've been up to, so I'll link that in case you didn't hear the first the first conversation that we had, or the most recent conversation. But the real most recent conversation leading up to this is basically what we did is we're talking about the CWL finals. We've been talking about the state of the competitive war scene in Clash of Clans. And we just had the first half of this conversation on your channel. I'll make sure I link that for you guys. So go ahead and start over there, then hop back and meet us here if you want to hear about Jake's thoughts and my thoughts on specifically the final stream. Just a quick recap. Jake, you really liked it. Maybe a few things we definitely could have done better in terms of the format. Any other final thoughts on the actual stream itself?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Again, I think they need to try to make it more natural and less of a production, and give you more time. I think those are my two takeaways, my two highlights, I would say.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about too is, and this is something we talked a little bit about with Supercell after the stream was over, and that is, how can we make an event like this, or a competitive event like this, appeal to a broader mass of people? I know we really didn't go over any of these questions ahead of time, so I'm just kind of putting you on the spot. But I'm wondering if you had any ideas. Like, obviously the video right now has, or the live stream has, like over 1 million views, so it's not like that's we really need more people. But at the same time, I love the direction that Clash of Clans is going. The work that the admins and CWL and all the people who put all the time into the league do is absolutely incredible. But at the same time, it would be nice to really, hit the golden age of Clash of Clans again, where there's, millions upon millions of people invested and interested in what's going on. So do you see any bridge to kind of bring together the more casual players and the really super competitive players?
It's tough, right? It always is.
Yeah.
If you tailor to your higher end competitive players, you alienate your casual players, and that's just for any game, any genre. It doesn't matter. It's always been that way. It may always be that way. But I think one thing you can do, and it goes right back to what I said about giving more time, is teach. You know what I mean? One thing and of course, you played some with me, Vainglory. What I loved about it is that even the higher tier guys, when you watch that stuff, there was a lot of lessons in there. There was a lot of, here's what I'm doing and here's why I'm doing it. That was missing. That was missing from the attacks. Yes, we got to see one little breakdown and here's what we're going to do, but very little true in-depth analysis. And I always said when we talked about these, our vision for these things, is I always pictured casters and analyst guys, like a lot of competitive games do. And I think if you have small segments, 5 minutes, showing an attack, analyzing it, teaching people, hey, here's what they did, here's why they did it, I think you can somewhat bridge that gap between at least a moderate and a hardcore player.
Okay, so you're thinking, because for those of you who might have missed the actual stream itself, basically, it's the last 2 hours of a clan war, an extremely competitive clan war. So we're in and out of attacks the whole time, but you think it would appeal more to a casual player, or maybe just like a little bit less of a hardcore player, to kind of just, take a step back and just analyze what happened, rather than making, hopping in and out of raids the entire time.
Absolutely. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a lot. Small segments, maybe 2 or 3 5-minute segments with an analyst that can draw on an iPad and say, pause the attack. Here's what, like I used to do on my channel. He's coming in from this angle. He's dropping this troop here. Here's why. Here's what this is going to accomplish in this attack. One little tidbit that someone can walk away from and say, yeah, I see that. And then they turn around and use it in their next attack. And then all of a sudden, they're walking down that path to maybe a more competitive role or scene that they're not in right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's how channels like yours and mine originally, and Powerbang and guys like that. That's how we initially took off our channels, because there wasn't a huge competitive, audience at first, but we kind of brought them in by just doing exactly what you just said. So
Absolutely.
it's a good point. It's definitely feedback that I'll give. I'm sure a lot of people out there wish that you, Jake, were in the were there with us in the broadcast booth or whatever. I have to ask, man, how do you feel about the competitive scene in Clash of Clans moving forward? I mean, CWL Season 2 is coming up. You're here with me right now, and you streamed a little bit of the CWL finals before the live stream. Is there any chance that you could maybe make a return? Either I'm not sure if it would be like daily or if it would be here and there, just covering OneHive's wars in CWL. Like, do you have any? I mean, you're obviously still invested in the game. You still like the game. Where's your head at right now, man?
That's a tough question. Obviously, the finals did stir up a lot of excitement in me because of OneHive being there. Obviously, how excited I would have been if it had just been two other clans. I don't know. Obviously, not as, but it's definitely it's something I'm thinking about, and I don't want my people to get too crazy on me. It's not going to be like I'm coming back pumping out daily videos like I was, all that stuff. But I really enjoyed the stream. I enjoyed getting to talk to all the people that I used to talk to all the time. That was fun. And I'm more intrigued by this than obviously I was by anything previously. As we talked about before, it was really good. It was really exciting. That direction that has been lacking in my mind since Clash came out is sort of developing. So clearly that piques my interest. But I'm sort of at a crossroads where I'm torn. I don't really know what it is that I would bring to Clash at this point. Obviously, when I left, people stepped into that position as war the enthusiast or teachers, things like that. So that it's not like that's a void where it was when I was there. So I don't know. It's tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, to speak to that, I think that, there's a lot of great channels out there, big and small, that have great war content. I don't want to name one because then I wouldn't be able to name them all,
True,
but at the same time, I think that you have such when you were going strong, man, you had such a rabid fan base, and I don't want to speak for all of them, but I just know that you added a lot to the game, So I think that, it'd be awesome if you just came back whenever you felt like it, cover some CWL if it struck you, but like just being a part of the community, we need guys like you, I really, I'm not just saying that. I think that I feel that way, just based on our conversations off air and stuff like that. But it'd be cool. But not to grill you too hard, but I hope you consider it, because it'd be nice to have you, maybe even just 1 or 2 videos a week. Coffee and Clash and Ninja Live, just whatever it is. But anyway, moving on, what do you think about just like, aside from the stream, you see CWL, I mean, thinking back to your farewell video 6 months ago, I mean, your complaints, if you think about it, or some of the reasons that you were, lacking in interest, a lot of them have been addressed. We have the arranged wars built in the game now. We have Supercell acknowledging the more competitive clashers now. And, I can't obviously share anything, you know how it is, and I hate to throw a teaser out there, but there is big stuff on the way too. So I mean, I'm really excited again about Clash of Clans personally. Where do you see, like, what do you still want out of the competitive scene in Clash of Clans?
Yeah, no, you're right in the fact that a lot of things that I've pleaded for when I was going strong are definitely in the game now, and that is one of the reasons that I'm sort of my interest is piqued. I'm so out of it, I'm so out of the meta of what's out there to
Loons.
And say, hey,
Loons.
Yeah, no, gosh, I'm an air guy.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the last thing keeping you out right now.
Yeah. It's hard to say because I don't know what the game needs. I guess that's the thing. I don't have my finger on the pulse like I did before and know what the community wants and what they need to sort of, like you said, bring back another golden era to where it's just, Clash is on fire and everybody's just eat up with it. So it's hard for me to answer that. I know that if they keep going down this road, it will naturally get better. They will get better at it. the CWL will get better. I mean, not that they didn't do a great job. I mean, I can't believe that was the first season that turned into an event like that.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's just a great job. I don't even know who all was involved in that, but they did well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think this natural progression of continuing what they're doing should lead to more good things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really, who knows if the golden age is truly behind us in Clash of Clans, but I've always said this, that, you have an MMO background as well, I know. And like, dude, like my first game I ever played like 20 years ago, EverQuest, is still alive, So like, as long as they continue to cater towards, I mean, Supercell's not going anywhere. We know that. So as long as they continue to cater towards the base that they still have, I think things can only go in a positive direction. I don't know how big it can go again, and I'm just, who am I to make that call? But just a couple ideas I wanted to run by you that I thought of, and actually gave these ideas to Supercell, and Supercell liked. And now, when I say Supercell, I was just talking to one person, so like take this with a grain of salt, right? But like,
you didn't have like a whole conference table surrounded by the whole team. And
believe it or not, I didn't. But like the two ideas that I came up with, trying to address that question of appealing to a more, back to that question I asked you, earlier to start of the video, is appealing to more casual players. And two ideas I wanted to run by you and see what you thought. One is making it more like, I don't want to take anything away from the CWL, because I think CWL, like you said, is the best thing that's happened to Clash of Clans in forever. But like making another league like that, or maybe transitioning somehow to making it like global. Because I think that if you think of like sports teams, right? Even if you're not a huge football fan, you watch your team in the Super Bowl, right? And you watch the Super Bowl no matter what. So like maybe if it was like, and I know like Clash Cup and stuff like this are starting to emerge, things like this, but like maybe if you made it geographical, where Brazil versus Germany or US versus Germany for the finals, and what you did was that would also solve the problem or the issue of having to fit in 40 people. You could just have like, and maybe you could, in the first iteration, you could build it around content creators. Like Alvaro has 5 of the best Spanish players, going up against, whoever the biggest, German YouTuber or something like that. Not to make it all about YouTubers, but like making team captains basically, where their job is community influencers who recruit the best from their country. It doesn't have to be the same clan. And then they have a tournament. And then like, I think that maybe that would appeal to a broader audience, the geographical addition to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you nailed it. I mean, it was like, and again, I hate to keep going back to it, but it was like in Vainglory, it was like EU versus, America, North America server. They had that. It had that regional, you identified whether you knew the people that were on there or cared or not. It was like, oh, this is, like you said, the World Cup type thing. You always cheer for your team, whether you care or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. I think it's a great idea. And I think you could build it. I've always said I think it's how you got to do it. You've got to start, and Supercell has to be involved to some degree, whether they just appoint, like you said, community people to do it or what. But you have to start in smaller brackets, smaller tournaments, and you build up to that. You build up to the North American finals and the European finals and the Canadian finals, whatever. You can separate it all you want to, and then you have that main event where they all clash and everybody has their flags waving and all that.
Yeah. I think that could be one of the other, on top of leagues like CWL, that could be one of the barriers that, could really make Clash of Clans become like an even more viable eSporty type game. Yeah. The other idea I had to appeal to a casual audience is something that, so they liked that idea. The guy I talked to liked that idea. He didn't like this next one, but I was like, what you could do easily to appeal to a bigger audience is just have a developer segment where there's a developer there in studio talking about what's on the horizon, and or it could be, I'm thinking back to like ClashCon, like almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and like everybody's favorite segment from that, or one of the favorite segments for the casual player, was like the troll developer iPad thing, So like maybe having like fun events. Do you think that ruins the spirit of a competitive event, or do you think that because that, I guess that would be the critique to it. The fact that it's kind of like clickbaity, not bait, you
Yeah.
know, but like, okay, watch to find out a little bit something about the next update. And at the same time, it's like it's so much different than like a troll war or something like that is so much different than a competitive war. So what do you think about that idea?
No, I think it's a great idea, and I would go. It doesn't take one away from the other because obviously they're separate. You know what I mean? And again, this is so weird. I keep going, and I don't even play Vanguard anymore. But I go back to that. They had like Friday developer streams, and they just did fun stuff. You battled against the developers, and they revealed things. They said, "Here's what's coming," or "Here's a sneak peek of this or that." People loved it. It was like the highlight of the week, you know, to sit down and watch the developer stream for an hour or two to get those sneak peeks and to get those fun little things. It's going to be a great idea.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. So maybe we'll see, you know, one of those two things in the future. But dude, I've taken a bunch of your time, and I know that this is even what you do full time, so or even part time at this point. But again, folks should check out the first half of this conversation on your channel. I'll link that in the description. And can I make you commit to another conversation? If not, return to YouTube, then come back on my channel again sooner rather than later.
Of course, man. You know, anytime you want me on, I'll be here.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on. And guys, check out that video. Jake, thank you so much. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.